Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome to another edition of the DyslexiaConnect.com online tutoring dyslexia blog. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the different types of dyslexia and degrees of dyslexia. So this is an important thing to understand because often people will ask us, what is dyslexia and how do I recognize it when I see it? And in the next episode I'm going to be talking about some of the very common signs of dyslexia. But first, I thought I should define the fact that there actually are different degrees of dyslexia. And this is a very important thing to understand. So typically, the different degrees of dyslexia are referred to mild dyslexia, mild or moderate dyslexia, severe dyslexia, and profound dyslexia. Sometimes people use different names as well, but usually just have different ways of splitting them up into different levels. So what this means is, if we're looking for dyslexia and trying to recognize it when we see it, it's not necessarily going to have the same forms each time. Every dyslexic student and individual can have different symptoms and different signs of dyslexia. There are many common ones that we tend to see that dyslexics have, but from student to student, we may see these 5 symptoms and not the other 5 common symptoms we're used to. And then in another student, we may see different ones, in fact. 5 other ones that are fairly common, but that the previous student does not have. So as a result, it's really important to understand this fact about dyslexia and how it works, and that there are different degrees. In a student who has mild or moderate dyslexia, you would tend to see signs that show up occasionally. The dyslexia might not cause the student to have severe trouble with reading or severe trouble with spelling, but you may notice something a bit unusual. The student may be very smart, but they may have trouble with spelling and seem to have a lot of difficulty even though they practiced a lot in certain words. They might forget certain sounds a lot. These types of things, those will pop up sometimes, but it's not completely obvious just from perhaps looking at them for a moment or seeing their work that this child is dyslexic. It may take a little bit of while or a little bit of knowledge to realize, oh yeah, this is dyslexia, but it doesn't necessarily completely stand out like it does with more severe degrees. Next, when we have severe dyslexia, that is something that is pretty clear for anybody that observes a child reading or spelling. Typically, a severe dyslexic will have very severe difficulties, as the name would describe. Sometimes this can mean that they may be even at an older age and still have very much trouble spelling basic words or reading basic words. And a student with severe dyslexia would tend to be labeled as having a reading disability. If the person didn't know about dyslexia, they probably would still realize this child is really having a lot of difficulty in this area. It's clear that something is going on, and it would become clear that they're having a lot of trouble. The problems are always there. They consistently manifest themselves, and it's pretty obvious to everybody that there's something going on. And of course, a dyslexia tutor or a dyslexia specialist that saw this would immediately know this is definitely dyslexia, certainly. When we're talking about profound dyslexia, that can be something that can be so debilitating that a person with profound dyslexia may be almost illiterate. And that could be a child who's maybe 8, 9 years old. It could be a teenager. It could be an adult with profound dyslexia who's never gotten the help they needed. And it may be so severe to the point that they have a hard time even reading. In school, they may have been labeled as a non-reader and may have gotten the impression that they would never be able to read and never be able to spell properly. And this is something that, of course, affects all areas of life, just like the other areas of types of dyslexia do. But severe dyslexia, we often see that in people who maybe have come to consider themselves illiterate or have even just given up on the idea of ever being able to read decently or spell decently because they've just had so much trouble. And they don't necessarily know what the problem is, but they realize there's something going on. And usually a person with severe dyslexia, once they realize that it is dyslexia, or profound dyslexia I should say, they're very relieved because they realize it's not just simply a matter of of issues of low intelligence or lack of effort or anything like that. It's just simply a matter of dyslexia. And so once they realize they have that and they can get the help they need and the treatment they need, they're usually very relieved to discover that there is a way that they can make progress and learn what they need to be able to read and spell and function better in their job and in their personal lives, etc. So those are the different degrees of dyslexia, and it's important to understand that there are different degrees and that we're not simply talking about one type of dyslexia, or I should say one degree of dyslexia and one set of symptoms. So once we realize that, then we can learn more about dyslexia and the different symptoms that we see, and know that if we see one person that has one set of symptoms and another person with a different set of symptoms, they may both be dyslexic, but they just have different degrees of dyslexia and different symptoms from dyslexia. And next time I'm going to talk about the common symptoms and signs of dyslexia that we tend to see a lot. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them in the comment section here, or you can also go to our website and email us from one of our contact forms. That's www.dyslexiaconnect.com. And as always, I'm happy to respond to questions on our website or in the comment section here on YouTube. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.